it's Claire Brown, health and wellness coach and plant-based cooking instructor, here again with some healthy holiday swap outs. Today I'm working on desserts. It's what we all love, and pie is kind of a basic holiday fare. There's not a lot of substitutes for grandma's homemade apple pie, but one thing that you can do to kind of flip the nutritional profile on that is to make sure you're using as much whole food as you can, and take a look at the crust. The crust of the pie is usually the thing that has the heavy fats. You need some kind of saturated fat in that crust to hold it together, to make it crumbly, to make it delicious. And I'm sure there's some fancy kind of chemistry ways that you can adapt it and still create a crust that's sort of healthier, but I'm just gonna flip the whole thing, because that's easier for me, it's way faster to make, and it's just as delicious if you ask me. So we're gonna do a berry cobbler super quickly, but you could do this with like a pumpkin pie type mix. I make pumpkin pie bites all the time. I'd show you one, but I just ate them all. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. I happen to grab cherries. These are frozen, right? I'm not gonna pit my own cherries. So these probably were buy one, get one free, which is why I have them. And I'm going to mix a few blueberries in. I'm kind of not a plain Jane. I always got to add more stuff. So I'm going to throw a few blueberries in just to kind of mix it up. I could also throw in a green apple. You know I love those. Really any kind of fruit, right? Whatever filling. You could put peaches in there, more, you know, oh, that canned pineapple I used in another video. You could put whatever you wanted. But I'm just going to stick with the cherries and the blueberries, and because I can't help myself, and I talk about it all the time, but I don't usually show people, I'm gonna grate a little bit of zucchini in here. Ever had zucchini bread, carrot cake, right? These kind of vegetables can really lend themselves to sweet foods, and no one is ever gonna know that they're in here. They're also just a little bit starchy, so I find it can help to bind, right, that juice and everything that's gonna be cooking out in these foods, especially using the frozen berries. And I don't have to put too many in. I could actually grate a carrot in there too, but I want to get my husband to eat it, so I have to back off a little on that one. For the inside of this, I'm just going to throw a little bit of lemon juice. That kind of perks it up a little bit. You need something to bind it, so you could use a little cornstarch, you could use arrowroot, you can use whatever kind of, I just have some regular flour here, and I'm just going to sprinkle it in there, because it's gonna just help to bind that juice, okay? Now, these berries are sweet. They probably don't need a lot of sweetening, but if you wanna sweeten it, use your, sweetener of choice. I would stay away from the chemical sweeteners, like pink, yellow, blue. Definitely not a healthy choice. I think the stevia green ones, so far, they don't see anything too bad about them. They are herb-based. Pure maple syrup, that's a good one for the holidays. You could use agave nectar. It's not health food, right? It's sugar. So whatever you choose, use it sparingly. Agave is super sweet, so you tend to not need quite as much. I'm just gonna put like a smitchel in there. You could use raw sugar. Again, choose what you feel most comfortable with. If you use honey, you can use that. If you have white sugar, you can use that. Just go easy. One reason I like using kind of the fancy sweeteners is they're so expensive. I tend to like watch myself in how much I'm using. I was gonna use my hand, but that's a little gross with all this gook in here. All right, so I'm just gonna mix this up a little. And really what we're gonna talk about right now is the topping. That was what the whole point of this was, but how can I make a topping without something inside? So I'm literally just gonna mix this up like that. Again, you can add all kinds of things to it. I definitely would put a green apple in there normally. All right, for the topping, we're gonna go oats. Oatmeal is like the winner. So I'm gonna throw oats in. I know I'm not measuring, but basically it's oats. That's what's gonna create the topping for this. And you could put it on the bottom, but it's gonna get, I don't know, I find it easier just to make kind of crumbly topping. You don't need as much of it, right? You just get a little bit of crunchy crumble in every bite. And what I'm going to use to make it stick together, because that's the key, like when you buy granola and these kind of crunchy oatmeal-y things, it's because they have oil in them. That's what's making it, right, stick together and luscious. I'm going to use applesauce, okay? So the applesauce is going to help to kind of bind this whole thing together. I'm just going to use, these tubs are great because you use one and you don't waste the whole jar, because my jars always go bad, like they get all yucky. All right, so I'm gonna mix this up. I'm definitely gonna use a little bit, not poultry seasoning. I did that once. I put poultry seasoning in my son's coffee one morning instead of cinnamon because I had it sitting out. He's like, this tastes weird. What's going on? All right, I don't see, here we go. You can put whatever seasonings you want, a little allspice, all your normal, you know, holiday type fare. Definitely cinnamon. And then mixy, right? So you just have oats, applesauce, the spices, and because the applesauce is the only thing that's really sweet in here, you can mix in some sugar. What I'm gonna do is the sneaky way. When you add sugar to things, you have to add a lot, right? Like if you, that's why you like chocolate chip cookies and Coca-Colas have like 26 tablespoons of sugar in a, you know, serving. But we don't want to have to put that much in, and it gets lost, right? Because you have all these ingredients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and throw this on top. You notice I didn't put any salt in there either. Usually pie crust and, you know, toppings will tell you to add a little salt. I don't, you know what, I'm going to save it for where it matters. So I'm just crumpling up on top, just a little bit, right? So you see it's, my hands are messy, right? Just a crumple. And of course, if I was making it for a bunch of people, I'd probably be a little more careful and make it pretty, but I'm gonna eat it all myself. Maybe I'll share a little bit. All right, sugar. I'm gonna use, there's a little bit in the fruits, right? But there's not, I didn't add any sugar besides that applesauce, which was unsweetened, to the topping. I could have put like a couple tablespoons of sugar in there, but it really would, the flavor would have gotten lost, the sweetness, right? And that's what people are looking for. When they take a bite, they want that pop of sweet. So why not just sprinkle it on top, right? So that's my trick. No matter what dessert I make, I'll take any recipe, cut the sugar in half, right? And then when I throw it in the pan, I'll sprinkle the top with sugar before I bake it. And then the sugar is like in that top, so every time you take a bite, you get that little burst, and you're using a whole lot less, and you actually get that sweet flavor, right? And eventually you might not even need to do that, but hey, it's Thanksgiving and we want everybody to enjoy their food. So cobbler ready for the oven. You can find recipes online like crazy. If you can't, message me, I'll find you one. But you see, easy wheezy in the oven, bake it. If it turns out a little weird, you can always mix it in your morning oatmeal. That's our holiday swap out for today. Oats instead of pie crust. Enjoy your holiday.